Okay, Ryan Steinelson here, and I have S with me. For you guys that don't know who I am, I'm the owner of Accelerate Marketing, a digital marketing agency that's been around for almost 14 years now. We've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses worldwide for the past 15 years to generate an extra 30,000 a month plus in revenue through optimizing their Google local service ads and their digital marketing presence through Google Business Profile optimization as well. And now through leveraging an AI agent to make sure that all their phone calls are answered within 30 seconds. So they get better conversions as well. So I got S with me. S, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Lee, founder of Messages Improved in May. I've been doing messaging an AI for 8 years now, um, and really started building out AI agents over the last 2 years when generative AI and ChatGPT being one of the uses of that technology, um, being readily available. Um, and I probably created a couple hundred agents on our platform. That's personally. Um, we have a couple of thousand that's created by people who have found our platform and decided to start playing with building their own AI. Um, and I connected with Ryan because of the use case for LSAs. But we see bots being used everywhere. So it's businesses, personally, as a personal assistant, and it's really interesting how creative these use cases are. I don't think that gets talked about that much
Yeah.
because you always hear about the big names out there on AI, your Open AIs or your Microsofts, Googles, and then all these startups that raise a ton of money to be like, we'll build AI agents for the legal space,
Yeah.
or for drafting website copy. um, and this, how Ryan and by association we're like building AIs. It's actually a much more interesting use case because this is boots on the ground doing real world work. And I joke that like with AI right now, people are still having it write poems, or like write an essay.
Yeah.
And in a way, those are all just toys,
Yeah.
right? Um, and we're basically turning the AI into a worker.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of like a
100%.
person. You start off in education just trying certain things, seeing how well it could do in exams, math problems. But we're like, all right, we're thinking a year ahead, being like, okay, how do we put it into the real world? And there's no better place to put it into than I think small businesses, right? Because if you think of the life cycle of AI, between inception of the idea to deployment for large companies will be a year plus.
Yeah.
But with something like us, you tell me all the time, hey, I was on a call with somebody today. Heck, by the end of the day, we have an AI agent that's working for him.
Yeah. Well, we did that yesterday, on a call with, with a business owner, actually an attorney that is a fairly large attorney with a partner that does criminal law in in a state that that has a lot of cases and what he wanted to see is, can it identify the types of cases that we take in order to qualify the person when they get on the call and engage with the artificial intelligence or the agent. And the answer is absolutely yes. I mean, it can definitely identify you know um, it can identify what type of of case that person has, that might be a subcategory of, for example, criminal law. It might be DUI. It might be, any one of those things, and of those subtypes, and then it takes that information down, and then it sends a notification to the client, to our client, the one that's hired us to implement the agent for them. And these guys are really happy because it works, and now they're just trying to figure out. And by the way, the first use case, I mean, I just got a call from a guy today, and pretty soon we're going to have some really good case studies. I mean, I really want to show you guys some amazing data that we have that shows that when a local service ads business, a business running local service ads, for example, which is what S said is, the first, case that we use this for, when they start running the Google local service ads, or when they start running the agent or using the agent to answer the phone, what ends up happening is there's a significant increase in the overall number of leads that business owner gets, or that business gets. And the reason why is because Google is actually recording those calls. It's listening to the calls. It's identifying how long it takes for the business to answer the call. And not many people know that. And this is one of the optimization strategies that we implement, or it's part of our process at Accelerate Marketing, in order to get businesses, in order to make them additional $30,000 plus a month or more. I mean, it can be much more than that, because we've seen some businesses get a doubling or a tripling in the overall number of leads, and not just message leads, but phone leads. So this guy that called me today, he has an upholstery and carpet cleaning business up in the Northeast US, and he just wants a solution to his problem. His problem is that when you look in the back office of his local service ads account, which, by the way, is the section of Google that's at the very top for local businesses. It's literally at the top of Google. It's sometimes it's known as Google Guaranteed or Google Screened, and Google allows businesses like plumbers, electricians, insurance agents, realtors, attorneys, run ads in that section up there. They call them ads. It's not your typical pay per click. It's actually you pay per phone call or per message lead, which is one of the things that we really like about it, is you're only paying for what you get. But Google actually, different than Google Business Profile optimization. They don't look at like how many links you have back to your Google Business Profile page or your website. What they care about is the kind of experience that people have when they call your business. They want to optimize for that, because they understand that they're not going to be around. They're not going to be, especially with the competition now with ChatGPT being the new search engine. Basically, they've got to make sure that the person that's calling that business is satisfied. That's why they created Google Guaranteed or Google Screened, because they wanted people to feel confident in knowing that business that you call is actually a verified, legitimate business. Because there's a lot of businesses that were creating fake businesses down in the Google Business Profile section, otherwise known as Google Maps, years ago. And so that's why Google wanted to listen to all these phone calls and record them. And this is the reason why this guy's in a lot of trouble, so to speak. I mean, he's in trouble in the sense that he's not getting the lead volume that he started getting. The guy's got an interesting, backstory. I mean, he came over from the Ukraine, 2 years ago when the war started, and now, he's trying to set up a new life here in the U.S. He's doing very well, doing the same thing that he did over there, and he just didn't know how the game was played here in terms of the local service ads optimization. And so we did an audit, because he texted us, and by the way, you can text us if you want to, or just go to our accelerateyourmarketing.com website, or text us at 619-304-5155 like he did. And when we did the audit, before we met, and when I met with him, I was able to see that about 50% of his calls were not being answered in less than 30 seconds. Well, I mean, you can imagine that Google, is going to rank him lower, and as a result, the lead volume that he's going to get is going to become lower and lower. Right. And that's exactly what happened. And so, he saw one of these videos and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to know. I heard how the agent works." We did the example yesterday, or the day before, of like calling the agent so that people can experience it. But You're right. There's so many different use cases. We get calls every day from business owners that really, they just need help. Because like him, they might be a one-man show and they can't answer the phone all the time. He was actually running, because of my videos that he watched, his ads 24/7. And you can't always get to it. And he said, look, I was just in the shower just before I got on the call and I missed the call. And I was like, yeah, this is why, it's important to set up a agent as backup for you, so that every call can be answered. And the way that we set it up is that we set up a 20-second delay. We give 20 seconds to him. If he's in the shower, the AI answers after 20 seconds, but before 30 seconds, so that the call is still counted as being answered. So,
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, in a way, what we're giving people is like the next generation voicemail, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You go, all right, ring 4 times, nobody picks up, voicemail.
Yeah.
But instead, ring 4 times, nobody picks up, AI voicemail.
Yes, it is. And as long as the business owner understands that those calls right now they really do need to be called back. That's one of the things that, it's like, for now. I mean, eventually the agent's going to be good enough to where it can qualify the client or the prospect and potentially bring them all the way through to a sale.
And that's what we're building for people.
Yeah. And that's right now. The agents, would you say that the agents that we're building are more, I mean, they're not able to take it through to a sale right now? I mean,
I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about any services business, right? Home repair, right? Yeah. They don't make money until the home repair is done. Yeah. But that initial objective when somebody calls, right, is to book a time for a consultation for the home visit, right?
Right.
It does that,
yep.
Right? It collects information and it qualifies them. And we leave it to the business to say, what do you want the call to action to be? Right? It can notify you so you could reach out. But if you have a calendar link, okay, once it qualifies, collects information, here's the link, right? Yep. So, I mean, we've been talking to, some of the clients where we've been building this for, we asked if they have a Calendly link. Yep. And Calendly now has the pay option, right? To book the appointment time. So if a business goes, hey, look, that initial consultation is not free, it's $50, right?
Yeah.
That calendar link that's connected to, their Stripe account if they want it to be. Yeah. And they could be paying. So it gets through straight to the sale.
Yeah, I would agree. What you're saying, S, is that if it's a service-based business and the ultimate goal is or a sale is considered a sale when the person books a call, then I would say that happens. With an immigration attorney, like one of our clients, I mean, they, that there's a little bit more involved there. So, obviously with somebody, with an attorney or a realtor or something like that, it's, obviously the sale's not consummated when the appointment's booked. But eventually, like I've even heard of PI attorney agents now, AI agents that are actually having hour-long conversations with people and signing the cases on the call,
I mean, if our client wanted to do that, it could.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So like, and that's where I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg with some of these businesses. And I think we're going about it the right way, which is, hey, let's solve that pain point that they have, which is, I can't answer the phone all the time. Answer that, right?
Yeah.
And then as they get more comfortable with it, they might start asking us like, hey, if we can just pick up and if it can qualify, could we give more information about the firm? Just basically, if you think about what that first call would end up being, right? Yeah. Let me understand your case. Let me know more about your firm, your pricing. Is this right? And then this information, if we just put it in the prompt for the agent to be like, okay, let's just say we've recorded 10 of those phone calls for this immigration lawyer, right? And there's transcripts for that. There's absolutely no reason why we couldn't take those 10 transcripts, put it into their bot's knowledge base, and in the prompt say, instead of just qualifying or booking them for the appointment, run through this conversation with them based on the information that we provided you, with that information being, here's 10 sample first calls.
Yes. Okay, and that brings up a good point. And unfortunately, like I want to be cognizant of the time today, because I've got another appointment. We're going to make this a little bit shorter today. I got about another 15 minutes, but I did want to like identify like the knowledge base that you're talking about. You know, OpenAI did come out with a new their new advanced voice functionality. Yeah. We've got a knowledge base built in to the texting component of what we do, of our agent. We can also connect that agent, the texting side, to a voice and to the voice piece. And, now with up until now, we've not been able to put both, to have a knowledge base for both voice and texting. On one phone number, which is right now we've got one phone number that somebody can use for both message leads or text, and for voice, which is not many. I don't think there's many options out there that are similar to that. So now the knowledge base is essentially the brains of the agent. It's the knowledge of your business that the agent understands, because you feed it that information. So you're training your agent on custom information about your business with that in that knowledge base. Now, the power of OpenAI releasing the advanced voice functionality is really going to be powerful, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's because we're going to be able to have one knowledge base eventually for both voice and text conversations. Correct?
Yeah. And so the reason for right now why it's separate is we use a voice provider that almost acts like a different person, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you having two employees. Sometimes, if they text in, this employee picks up. If they call in, this other employee picks up, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of treating them as separate. But what we want to do, and what is now possible with OpenAI's new voice API, is to treat that same employee as it had thumbs before, right? Mm-hmm. But now we just give it a voice, vocal cords as well, right? So that it's using the same brain.
Yes.
So, and the reason why it was difficult before is voice AI now, it has to go through multiple steps, right? It has to take what you say, voice to text, change it into text, send that text to an AI model to come back with a text response, which they then turn to speech, right?
So that's what Bland was doing, and Air and Vappy. So they were taking text, converting it to voice, and then converting it back to text.
Yep.
For text.
And you can imagine that technology kind of being difficult, because as you're doing it so quickly, you're on a call, sometimes the other person speaks and then you want to let them speak, and there'll be that like lag or delay, and that just makes for a really awkward conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's like when somebody has a bad connection, you're just like, hey, well, no, you talk, wait, stop. And so the fact that it has to jump these 3 steps makes it tougher, right? And so what OpenAI's new voice API does is they go, hey, when you sent that speech to us, that text over, actually, well, now instead of sending just the text, you can send voice as well. So it condenses those 3 steps into one, reduces, in theory, the lag time. So now the person, when they have, talk to the AI, feels a lot more natural.
Wow. So what you're saying is that it goes, before it was was going from a voice, like somebody was speaking, and
Yep.
then that would be translated into text,
Yep.
sent to the large language model,
Yep.
and then that would create a text, and then that would be translated back into voice again.
Yep. So you
Wow.
think in the amount of time I said something and you say something in response, it has to take those 3 steps. Each one
Yeah.
takes compute time, right?
Yeah.
But if you can cut that down and say, hey, look, if you OpenAI on the other side can just take that voice recording that can be semi-real time, right? Shoot it over and condense that and make that faster and shoot something back, right? Then it makes it 1 step instead of 3.
Yeah. So that's the reason why the latency or the delay is going to be a lot faster. It's going to be a lot lower. So the amount of time it takes to actually get a response back is going to be instantaneous almost. And what's going to happen now, and with this, because I didn't even realize that it took all those steps to get to the large language model, and for it to take that information and then spit it back out as a response. Now, I mean, that makes sense that the AI was always interrupting because it couldn't hear what was happening because there was those 3 steps in between.
Yep.
So now we're going to get that's the one. It's the interruption part of it that really had it feel a lot less human. That caused people. It was that and the delay. And so now I agree. I think like Bland and Air and Vappy are going to be in big trouble because they don't have, all they've got is they've got these conversational pathways that are creating these conversations in a routine. And I think that takes away a lot of the way that these models were created to be used more like the brain that gives more freedom as opposed to having to follow a linear path or a linear process. And so, and you introduced this to me and this concept to me very early where I was like, oh man, this conversational pathways, this looks like the way to go. And then you're like, yeah, but it takes away a lot of the freedoms that the model allows for. And it makes it really restricts the agent from being able to have a communication that is more free flowing and more natural. And so that I agree. I mean, now I see it and I see, why they did why Bland and Vappy did what they did in the beginning, because they're trying to create some sort of uniqueness in the marketplace. Well, now things are changing so fast that OpenAI is opened up its API with voice to make it with a knowledge base so that you can. I mean, this is really powerful, guys. I mean, this is like now you've got one phone number or one agent that can communicate in every way in every way that we communicate as humans. With voice, with texting, all of it, and have complete access to everything that's on the internet, really. I mean, like that's how powerful it is, and it's smart enough to rationalize things, to actually understand your process as a business. So it needs to be trained one time, not multiple times.
Yep. And think about this as a, in 6 months from now. So in my example of you having 2 agents, right? One person who's manning the messages that come in, the other one who's talking on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Now, in a phone conversation, when you're talking to a business, they're collecting your information and they're like, what's your address? And you're just like, oh no, it's 123 Main, not Kane, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, just text this to me. Like, why are we doing this, right? There's background noise. It's impossible. Well, 6 months from now, with this voice API that's treated more as a layer as opposed to a separate person, imagine you say to the agent, oh yeah, it's 123 Main Street. And they're like, I apologize. I couldn't get that. What was it again? And we prompted to just be like, hey, just tell me to text it to you. And because it's the same person, but now they have vocal cords and thumbs, right?
Yeah.
That it texts and it goes, oh, okay, I got it now. 123 Main Street. Okay, well, and allowing that to almost act like a person, because people hate actually giving information on the phone like that, right? They'd rather just text it.
Right. So you're saying that because the agent has more functionality in the form of a voice and the ability to be able to text, it can communicate in multiple ways
Yep.
seamlessly instead of keeping them separate.
Yep.
Yeah. So that it knows that it's got access to be able to have a text come in or send a text versus them being two separate things from different brains.
Yep. Yeah, imagine coordinating that, right? You're on the call with somebody right now, and you're like, text me, but it's like another employee that now has to go, like, okay, that's difficult to coordinate. And
Wow.
so, yeah, that's the possibility. I mean, no joke, in 6 months, like if you're answering your own phone calls,
Yep.
well, your competition, it basically has an AI employee that's probably better than yours and is
Yeah.
completely indistinguishable from the
Yeah.
caller.
These are really big points that I don't think anybody is even talking about right now, that people don't even know about. I mean, I only know this because we've spent thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars developing a platform that we thought was going to be the end all platform, with a separate brain for voice and a separate brain for text. That's how I met S, because we had the separate brain for voice, and our texting was less than optimal because of the challenges that S just talked about, the three steps that happen, in between the agent the agent and getting the information back, because it goes from text to voice back to text again. So it's like, so now, having gone through that, it's only through going through that I understand how big of an opportunity this is, because I understand how my clients are asking and requesting for the ability to be able to have this done, where
Yep.
they want to have the AI agent have a conversation, by the way, in one language, and then be able to go into another language in voice and or text, and then send information or request information via text and or voice. I mean, that's like all because it's using one knowledge base or one brain. Think of the knowledge base as being the brain. It's the brain that we give it of reference or reference point to your business and what your business is all about, so that it can be customized for your business. So anyway, I've got another call I got to get on right now, but we're going to keep doing these. This is why we have these conversations daily, S and I, instead of doing this in a vacuum where we just get on the phone and just call each other. Is we're like, hey, we might as well have these conversations and have you guys listen in as business owners, so that you can learn how you can take advantage of this technology, these strategies. Set that What I would do if I were you as a business owner, because this is like the equivalent of having the internet back 30 years ago when nobody else was on it. If you did that, you were going to, have a website, you're going to rank number one, you're going to have, leads that are coming in that your competitors don't. Same thing with AI. If you start early, start building it, you're going to reap the reward. So if you have any questions here, I'm going to put this. Here's the number: 619-304-5155. You can text the word audit for a free audit of your Google local service ads pages. And I really appreciate your insights, S. And if you have any questions, let us know. We can definitely help your business implement these strategies, and you can know that we are right at the tip of the spear in terms of understanding this information and implementing it. So, and we'll keep you ahead of the game so that you can generate an extra $30,000 a month through these very powerful digital marketing strategies, or more, much more for your business. So anyway, thanks.
All
Anything
right.
else, S?
Thanks, Ryan. No, that's it.
All right.
Till next time.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.